So I guess welcome to another episode of my tutorial. So in today's topic, I will be explaining to you how to make use of our computer server in our Packet Tracer and configure different server services. No? So let me pull up my screen here so that I can share it to you. What am I talking about? Networking with Sir Godwin. So it's another topic to discuss now, and we will be focusing on configuring the computer servers that we have. Okay, so the topics to discuss will be I will be teaching you how to create a DHCP server, a web server, and we are going to create a simulated website so that we can access that website using our PCs connected to the server. Then I will be teaching you also what's the importance of the domain name, okay, domain name server services, and we are going to pull up also what we call the FTP server and the email server. I hope I can discuss this one as short as possible and clear as possible. Okay, so I will be pointing this out to my packet tracer. Okay, then we will start with what we call a server here, and we will put that in a network. Okay, so let us create a network here using our switch. Okay, so this is switch. It's up to you whether you are going to what they call this initial config your switch, but it would be better you have to. Okay, so here I'm going to pull up different PC 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then I'm going to connect this one in different what they call this different ports that we will be defining. Okay, so this is port number 1, this is port number 2. Don't mind the background because I don't know if my microphone can pick up those backgrounds. No, we have already this network, and then we are going to IP this one, put an IP address. Okay, so let's say the IP address that we are going to implement is 198.15.200.0 network. Okay, 200.0 network. So basically, if this is a network 198, this is supposed to be that 1.2.3.4, so on and so forth. If we have a router here and we are going to configure a router, let's try putting out a router here, but basically the router has no a value yet because we are not going to connect ourselves to the other network. Okay, take note that we are going to perform only a local area network rather than a wide area network. But in this case, the point is at least you can see that this implementation is almost complete already because you have your router with you, and later we are going to create a what we call this a gateway in order for all of these PCs can also gain access to the internet. No? So we are going to do that in simulation. Then I am going to use this laptop. It's my management laptop. Okay, where all of the configuration will be done here, not on this PC, because in this PC is only a local area network. So we are going to separate our local area network, fill that one, select any, what we call this, select any color here, put it in this manner, okay? So we are making sure that our server is also part of that network, okay? Here, okay. So this management here, this management laptop, we are going to make sure also that this is different line. Okay, so we are going to pull up another color here. Okay, then let's say for example we will pull green onto it in this manner. This one, okay. I am making sure that this laptop is still attached to that switch. That's why you have two different networks here, this network and this network here. So to separate each of these network, this one, this implementation here is our VLAN one. Then this implementation, the green one, is our VLAN 99 intended for our management purposes. Okay, you know that one already because I have explained that previously. Okay, so we're going to put this one at Pass Internet 24. Sir, are we going to configure also the security? It's up to you, but our topic here focuses on the use of your server. So if you're going to use this topology and implement port security, it's up to you. Okay, So let's try. The first thing that we're going to do is to configure the switch. Okay, sorry, configure the switch, put RS232, put it there, console. Then in our PC here, we are going to IP this one differently because this is a management PC. Then we are going to use 172.16.99.10, then 172.16.99.2, okay, which is pointing out to the switch, or it's okay that you don't have a gateway for this one. Okay, so all of these PC, since we name or we IP this one with the 198.15.200.200.0 network, so we mean that this PC at port number 1 has an IP address of 198.15.200.10. Okay, then with a default gateway of 198.15.200.1. Okay, so what I did is just I just copy and paste it so that we can work as fast as we could. So here, so this will become 11, okay, and this will become dot 1. Okay, same is true with this computer here. We're going to put this IP12, and this is gateway 1, and the port 1 will be 13, okay, and 1. While our server bears the IP address of, since it is a server, since this is a server, this is statically configured. Okay, this is statically configured. What we are doing is we are statically putting up IP addresses to our network. But later on in our topic, that if we are going to create a DHCP server, you don't need to type in these IP addresses one by one. Okay, we let that computer access that server and ask for an IP address. That when that server sends that there is a computer asking for IP addresses, it connects itself and gives out an IP address intended for that PC. Okay, but in this instance now we are statically configuring these devices, or the IP address of these devices statically. Okay, so which is and determine which is better, whether we are going to do it statically or whether you are going to do it dynamically. Okay, so here we'll name this one 2. Oh, sorry, servers are 3. Okay, this is a best practice. The dot 1 will be our gateway, the dot 2 will be our switch, the dot 3 will be our server. Okay, so we will try to ping if all of these PC can ping each other. Okay, there it is successful. This PC can ping the server. Yes, it's successful. So basically all of the PCs here are what we call this, are connected with each other via static configuration. Now, if you this one is implementation only of a server connected to multiple PCs accessing different services of that particular server. Okay, so going back, so we are going to point out now that we are going to create a DHCP server. So how to do that? We will go to the server, implement the DHCP. Always remember that configuring IP address for server, it will always be static. Now, if you have statically configured IP address, you go to the services, you go to DHCP, and this time you are going to turn on that DHCP mode. Okay? So this way, we are thinking that we are going to give out IP addresses for this PC rather than do it statically. Okay, so a while ago we have statically configured them. It's okay because we only have 4 computers. What if you have 100 of computers for you to put an IP address? Are you willing to do the task? I don't I don't question your motives. No, I don't question your integrity to do that. But in networking, an administration of the network should be there, coupled with the server administration. Okay, so to do that, we are going to name our server here. Okay, the server pool name means that we are going to name our server. Like for example, this is LB447 underscore or dash DHCP. So basically, we are employing DHCP to LB447. And what is our gateway? So our gateway says 198.15.200.1. What is our DNS server? What is our DNS server? The DNS server is the IP address of this computer. The IP address that you use for this server is the DNS server. So meaning that is 198.15.200.3. Okay. The start IP address that you are going to give to the PC, you start by 10. Okay. And the subnet mask is already there. The maximum number of user, that's by default. So let us forget everything about it. Then we add. Okay. So when you add, you have two different server pools now. Now I want you to take a closer look with the server pool here. Since this is the default one, your computer will ask for an IP address to the default DHCP server, to the default DHCP server pool name. So we are going to disable this one. So either or, you are going to make this one 0 so that this pool cannot give out any IP address because it says 0. Okay, or you are going to make all of these 0. Okay, so meaning there is no information whatsoever pertaining to this server pool here. You save it, so basically it cannot give anything, so it will jump to the next DHCP pool. Okay, so since it is already turned on, we're going to close this one. We go to our PC. Take note that our PC is statically configured, but when you are going to click the DHCP, your computer now is requesting for an IP address from the server. Take note, you cannot edit something because your DHCP server is the one giving out IP addresses. Okay, this one, same is true with this one. Okay, there, it's 11. So you have to wait for a couple of seconds in order for this IP address to be given to each PC. Okay, then lastly, there. So sir, what if I'm going to add another PC? Okay, what if I'm going to add another PC? And you can see now that your DHCP is very, very easy and simple to implement. Okay, automatically it gives out IP addresses already to whatever computer that you are adding. Okay, so there is no IP address, but when you click on the DHCP, it asks for the DHCP from the server. Okay, now again here, if this happens to you, like for example, your DHCP failed. Why it is failing? Because if you look at that, it's still orange. So meaning the connectivity between this PC and that switch has not yet been established. If you can see the orange color, now it is already green, right? So if a PC would like to ask for the DHCP and the DHCP server cannot be reached, it will give you an APIPA, okay, an address. It is called the automatic private IP addressing, okay, automatic private IP addressing that start with 169.254.86. that whatever number would that be. So if all of this PC has not requested or has not received its own IP address from the server, it bears the 169. So it requested now the correct IP address from the server, and it gives out the correct IP address rather than the 169. A while ago, as I have said, it have your PC have not requested a particular IP address because it has not yet established connection with the switch. So you are going to implement a DHCP on your computers using the DHCP server. Okay, so we have already finished this one. We tackled this one. So we are going to create a web server. Okay, creating a web server in your in your in your network topology here is that meaning if this computer will pull out its web browser, then accesses what is the website of your company. Okay, so let's try to do that. Creating a web server is very simple. Again, you go to the services, you go to the HTTP. HTTP is a protocol, okay? A protocol that enables you to create websites, okay? Or to display any website on any platform, any computer. So to do that, okay, by default, okay, it has a what we call this, a website already, and it is named Welcome Cisco Packet Tracer, so on and so forth. This is Cisco Packet Tracer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out a what we call this, a website. Okay, let's say, for example, we do google.com. Google.com. So in google.com, we are going to show this one as our website. Take note, all we have to do is to go to the view page source, and this is the code, right? So we are not going to type all of this. Else, we are going to copy this one, okay? Then we go back to our packet tracer, okay, here. We erase the content, and we are going to save, okay? We copy and paste the Google email, the Google code here, okay? Then save. So that's it. You have your website now, okay? So to activate the website, take note, going back to that topology. So in order for us to access the website, we go to our PC, we go to the web browser. Take note that what is the name of the site, right? What is the name of the site? So in basic concept about website, we are accessing the IP address of this server. Same is true with accessing, we are accessing the IP address of google.com. But google.com is outside our organization, so we don't know what is the IP address. But here, we know the IP address of our server. That's why we can type it here, 198.15.200.3. So basically, by typing it, it, it will be showing the website that we have created already. There you are, you see? Okay, but we have not yet copied because Google here is an image. So we have not downloaded the image, but rather we have downloaded the contents. So basically inside our PC here accesses the Google that we placed in our what they call this, in our server. Okay, so we have just simulated a website. Let's say this is our website, no? So the problem is, if you are using an IP address, we cannot remember all IP address in the world. Okay, we don't know what's the IP address of Facebook, what's the IP address of Yahoo, what's the IP address of Google. That's why a DNS would come in, because instead of typing out the IP address, we are using the name of the website that we will be accessing. Like for example, google.com, okay, abc.net, so on and so forth. So in your server, okay, you go to the DNS and you are going to turn it on. Then you name your server or you name your website. Let's say, for example, the website name is google.com. Okay, google.com is a name for a website. That's why it is called a record. And you are going to put the IP address 198.15.200.3. Okay, then you add. You can also say shortcut when you type google.com, but usually when you say Google, it is already implied that we are referring to google.com. But instead of putting it as an A record, we are going to put it as a C name. The canonical name of google.com is Google, or shall we call its alias in other terms. So when you say Google, it's a canonical name or an alias of google.com. That's why you are going to put that google.com here. Okay, then you add. So either or, you're going to put www.google.com. So we can change this one, put www.google.com. Okay, when you save it, it is also the same as Google with the www.com, because Google is its alias. www.google.com is the usual thing that we are typing in the net. Okay, specifying this is the World Wide Web. Okay, sige. Then let's close this one. Then we try to access the www.com using our web browser. Then www.google.com. We have to wait for a couple of seconds until such time we reach google.com, but instead using the IP address. Okay, so we have already answered the web server. It's already done. We created a simulated website. It's already done. And we name our website already. So simple as that. Okay, going back to our example here. So let's say, for example, PC0 here would like to access Google. But instead of typing the entire www.google.com, just like Facebook, we don't type Facebook anymore. We just type FB, okay? Because it's the alias of facebook.com. This time, Google, okay? And go or enter, then we have to wait for a couple of seconds. And basically, our website will be downloaded to our page, okay? So is there any question? I believe there is no question already when creating a website, okay? And I know this is not your first time doing it. Now, the next thing that we're going to create is the FTP. You know FTP already. FTP is a protocol, okay? We have several protocols that we have discussed already. The DNS, the HTTP, the DNS, and this time we are going to discuss FTP, okay? FTP is a file transfer protocol. Okay, the file transfer protocol enables you to download and upload files from your end to your server or to any parts of the world. As long as you have an access to that particular server, you can perform FTP. Okay, so there are several commands, so almost too difficult for us to understand sometimes what an FTP is because we don't have any background into it. Now, let's say, for example, here. Uh, FTP, your server has a couple of or has files already. Okay, we don't understand what the files here. So we are going to the server now, or the administrator would like to create a file, and this file will be downloaded by the users, no, at their end. Okay, so I am going to create an account for all of these users so that they can access the web server or the FTP server. Okay, so firstly, we're going to turn it on, and we are going to, let's say, for example, name our user PC0 with a password of PC0. Okay, it should that user can okay can write, read, delete, rename, and list all the contents of the server here. Okay, if you are going to uncheck, let's say, for example, write, therefore this user cannot upload files onto the server, but rather it can only read, delete, rename, and list down that file. Okay, so it's your choice as an administrator what kind of work or privilege that you are going to give a particular user in this situation. So we add PC0 as our user. So here, PC1, then we are going to PC1 as the password. Then this time we are going to read only. Okay, read only. It cannot delete, it cannot rename, it cannot list and write. So we better make sure what kind of user are we going to use later. Okay, we are going to put it here now, PC0. Okay, the privilege that we gave is RWDNL. Okay, RWDNL, so that when we test later, at least we know that we gave a privilege like this. In PC1, we only gave a privilege of R. Okay, and let us see what will be the effect if we are going to give that user only R. Okay, now let us create a file that this user will download. Okay, so creating the file is very simple. You go to your desktop. Okay, you go to the text editor. Okay, and you write on something like, for example, I would like you to download this file at your end because this will serve as an evidence that our FTP server is working. Okay? So soon as you receive this, you reply with your own text to upload. Okay, so we will save this file, save. Then we will name this one as laboratory lab activity 1.2.3.4.5. Okay? Since that file is already created, we are going to look for that file. Where did we save it? You go to the command prompt, then you press dir. Dir means directory, or list down your directory. There, you have already created a file called lab 1.2.3.4.5, aside from the sample text that is already given. No? That's by default. But this time, this file will be uploaded to the server. Now, how to upload to the server? So basically, when you upload to the server, all you have to do is to go to the services, go to the FTP, okay? If you look at your file here, it does not bear any lab activity at all, okay? So the very best thing that you are going to do is to upload it. Go to the command prompt, then FTP 19, what's our one? 198.15.200.3. Okay, so we are going to use the FTP username Cisco, enter the password is Cisco. So I am now inside my FTP. Okay, if I'm going to ask a question, then I'm going to press question mark. Then it says there, you have several commands here that says cd, delete, dir, get, help, passive, so on and so forth. Now, the main point here is when you say dir, you are listing down again the files that is inside your FTP. Okay. Then secondly, there is a get. The delete is very, very simple. So I'm going to focus on the word get and put, because the command get is the command on how to download and put is the command on how to upload. Okay, so we are going to upload what we have created. So always remember what is the file name that you use, okay, so that you can upload it. So meaning we are going to put lab activity 1.2.3.4.5. It would be better for you to not to put spaces on your files, okay? So that's a recurring problem always in Cisco, because when you put spaces, it cannot determine what kind of file we are talking about. Basically, the file that we have created has been uploaded already to the FTP. Then if we will check if there is a file, you press the IR, then we are going to look for that file, if it is existing or not. Yes, there. Okay, our file is already uploaded. Then we let our users here download that file. And that file says, if I'm going to open it back again, it says there, typing it, or file open, lab act this one, open, it says there, I would like you to download this file at your end, because this will serve as the evidence that our FTP server is working. As soon as you receive this, you are going to reply with your own text to upload. So meaning, once the user downloads this one, it will reply back to the server using its own created file. Okay, so we will let these users here, the PC0 and PC1, upload file to the server as soon as they download the files that we have created. Okay, let's try. They will go to their CMD and type FTP, then the target server. This is our own network. It's very easy for us to identify what would be that one. What would be that name of our server? 198.15.200.3. Okay, so since I am PC0, I'm using the PC0. Then my password is PC0. Okay, I am already inside FTP. Then the next thing that I'm going to do is to dir, so that I will determine if there is a file am I going to download. dir. It says there, oh, there is a laboratory activity. So that's the time that we are going to download that laboratory activity. How to download? Again, as what I have told you, I would like to reiterate the put and the get command, because the put is a command to upload and get is the command to download. So get, then the file name that we are going to download, let's copy this, then it's going to paste. Okay, but beforehand, okay, let's make sure, let's try not to download first. What I would like to do is I want you to see if our computer has this file already. Okay, so to determine if your computer has files already, you press the AR. There are no files present except the sample file text, right? So if we are going to download the lab, the lab activity, meaning it will be appended here. Okay, so again, follow the procedure. Okay, access the server, type your username, PC0, enter, PC0 is your password, then get, then the IP address, then get the file name. Okay, so it says here, it has already been transferred, so meaning it has downloaded already that file. So when you press quit, exit, and press the IR, you have already the file in you. Now, since this PC this PC, we are not at the server. Since this PC has downloaded the file, they know already, or he knew already what is the instruction. So he will create his own file. Okay? He will create his own file, then save it and upload it to the server. So meaning he has, maybe he answered already what is the inquiry or what is the laboratory activity, right? So dear sir, uh, submitting to you the answer to my lab activity 1.2.3 or .5. So I hope you find every everything in order. Period. Respectfully yours, PC0. Now, PC0 will save this one. Let's say file save. Then matag siya command na answer activity or lab activity 1.2.3.4.5.doc. Okay, so that is the file name that he submitted. Okay, now, so he just created the answer, but he did not yet upload his answer. So he will go to the command prompt again, okay, then access the FTP, okay, using his PC0 and PC0 username and password. Then he will upload his files. Take note, he has not yet uploaded the files, but this file is the administrator file, and he will upload his answer now. So what is the command? Command is your put, then you are going to upload the answer for lab act 1.2.3.4.5.doc. Okay, basically it has been uploaded already. Okay, so not yet because we did not put issue DIR. If you are going to issue DIR and look for that answer there, you have already uploaded your file. Then you quit here. Then let the administrator, you go to the administrator opens this one, okay, and check if that student has already what we call this PC0 has already uploaded his answer. Okay, so here TP dir and there. You saw already the answer of PC0. All he has to do is to open this one. Okay, how about this guy here, the PC1? So will he able to download and upload files on his end? Let us try it. No? So firstly, he will access the FTP server, FTP 198.15.200.3. He can, PC1 is his username, PC1 is his password. Okay, dir. He cannot even dir. Okay, because his privilege is only to what? To read, something like that. Huh? So since his privilege is limited, he cannot do anything about this one. Okay, so what he is going to do? Nothing. That's why you have to be very careful when you set up the privilege of your users. Okay, so let's try to check the privilege of this guy. PC1 is only read, but if you are going to add some more, right? Delete, rename, and list. List is the command in order for you to dir. Okay, so if you're going to add all of this, what we call this, add all of this privileges, save it. So basically, let us see what will happen. Okay, at the end of PC1, he will quit and do the same process again. TP PC1, PC1, then dir. So basically, he can do now this task. Okay, then he will download this one. And basically creates his own answer. So again, to download, get lab activity 1.2.3.4.5 Okay, it has been downloaded already. He will quit and try to determine whether that file has been downloaded by giving the command dir at the prompt. So he has the file already. So he saw the content and answer. Okay, so dear sir, this is my answer to the lab activity 1.2.3.4.5. Okay, sincerely, PC1. Okay, let's save this one. Let's save this correctly. File, save. Let's say PC1 answer.doc. Okay, then this guy will now upload his assignment to the FTP. Okay, so he has to access the FTP server back again, then PC1 and PC1, then yang i-put ang PC1 answer.doc. Okay, he have already submitted his file. Okay, so at the end of the server here, let's try to check if there are files present already in the FTP. The IR, I hope 2 files are submitted. So the answer of PC0 and the answer of PC1. Okay, this is what we call file transfer protocol. Okay, so I guess I am going to end my topic here. I'm not going to give you the email server because the email server requires many protocols, some protocols, and which I have not yet discussed. So maybe siguro some other time, I am going to couple this one, emailing, if we have already a router configuration, so that we can apply all of this in the router config. Okay. If you have any question, you can type that one below the comment, and I hope you have subscribed already and like the page or this my YouTube channel. Okay. So for that, I am going to exit now. Thank you for listening, and I hope you grasp some information with regards to the use of your server services. Okay, so thank you and goodbye. Ciao, peace out. I'm going to end this slide now. Okay, bye bye.